So in this video, I just want to have a brief dialogue about Cynthia G and what happened to her channel. For those of y'all that don't know, Cynthia G, oftentimes called Synthetic G because she is just addicted to weave, but that's neither here nor there. She was a fairly sizable YouTube platform. I think she had well over 120,000 subs, somewhere around there, give or take. And she was making pretty good money. I think she was well over six figures a year. Had a loyal following. She would go live from time to time. And I actually used to watch Cynthia G years ago when she was more on the pro-black type of stuff. And she was, anti-white in the beginning. And some of her anti-white rhetoric would eventually lead to her getting her first channel terminated. She would talk trash about white people, especially white men. She would call them evil, albinoid devils, caucasoid devils, all kind of weird stuff. And it went on for a little while, and eventually they banded together and flagged her until they got her taken down. And then she came back with another channel, and I think, and I want to add real quick. She was saying fill up the caves, referencing getting rid of white people, sending white people back to the caves or something like that. So she was on some hardcore black supremacy type of stuff. And she kind of had a pivot where she went from that to the more anti-black male rhetoric. But I think in between what happened was she had a falling out with some black men that she may have been working with, and I guess that triggered some of her prior trauma. And at this time, I didn't even have a YouTube channel. I've only had my channel for a little bit less than a year, and I only do this part-time. But I just found this to be a very interesting situation. I believe Cynthia G, has a pretty sizable following on Patreon, so she's still gonna eat, but she's not gonna eat like she was eating, just as recent as a few weeks ago. But according to Cynthia G's previous video, she grew up poor. I think her dad was on drugs. And she just has probably had some bad experiences with black men, and I think she has some deep-seated anger with her father because of her childhood and her trauma from her childhood, and her pivot towards this total hateful, just straight up venom and vitriol towards black men over the past few years that she's had her channel, and it grew, from a few thousand to what it was up until recently, like I said, around 120,000, somewhere around there. I don't remember. I haven't watched her videos in quite a long time. It's been at least a couple years since I watched one of her videos when she started going to the dark side. But I want to hit this situation from a different angle. And the angle I want to hit it from is Cynthia G became a slave to her hate for black men. And the same group of bitter, miserable black women that supported her on YouTube are the same group of bitter, miserable black women who led to her downfall. And the reason why I say they led to her downfall is because they fed the fire. They gave her ammunition to keep going. And of course, she was doing it for the bag. She saw it was making her money, and she sold her soul. And what that did was that created an opportunity for her to push the envelope further and further and further, to the point where she was saying things like abort black male babies. She was getting her followers to go take photos of black men at grocery stores and Walmart and on vacation with unattractive white women, when in reality she knows that the majority of black men don't even date white women. Yes, some black men do date white women, and some black men do date decent looking white women, but the majority of black men that date white women, they don't necessarily get the white man's best unless they are the best of the black community. If you want a drop dead gorgeous white girl, as a black man, you got to have your life together. You got to have your money right and all that. But that was a red flag right there. And I think she got away with it for quite some time. And a lot of black men initially just kind of let some of this stuff slide. But when she started getting more extreme with her rhetoric, I think some black men start trying to flag her and get her channel taken down. It didn't work for a long time. Like, she got away with this for a long time. And I'm surprised it lasted for as long as it did. But karma finally came back to get her. And I just want to say, man, that I'm a person who applies to smoke equally. I critique anybody, black, white, Latino, Asian, Arab, male, female, young. Oh, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to dedicate my platform to tearing down just one specific demographic, especially the natural female counterpart to me as a black man. As a black man who loves black women, good black women. I don't love certain types of black women. I think that we as black people know good black people when we meet them, male or female. I think a lot of black women can't stand the worst of the worst men in the community, and a lot of black men can't stand the worst of the worst black women in the community. That's just an incontrovertible fact. But this woman's hatred grew so strong, and she pushed the envelope so far that she just tried to label all black men as trash. All of us are dusty. All of us are bandits and trash bag and all this goofy stuff she was saying. You know, and it just got too far. And as far as the whole abort black male babies thing, Cynthia G, are you aware that some women become sterile after they get abortions? Now, not all, because I know some women who done had abortions and got plenty of kids, but I also know some women who had 1 or 2 abortions and can never get pregnant again. But she's about black female empowerment. Aborting babies, whether you aborting black or white, regardless of what race the baby is, aborting babies does not benefit the woman at all from a health perspective at all. It can create what's called Asherman syndrome, which causes scar tissue in the uterus. Like I said, it can make a woman sterile and even some other complications. But that's another conversation for another day. And then you tell black women to date out, go get you another man of another ethnicity. Okay, cool. But the fact of the matter is, over 90% of black women still marry black men when they do get married. And the majority of black women that make babies with black men. Most black women don't want to date men of other races. You know what I mean? Now, some black women would if they could, but the fact of the matter is, most other demographics of men aren't checking for black women like that. They'll sleep with you, but they won't wife you. That's just a fact. You know, they got white women. If you're a white male, for example, most white men, they're going to be with a white woman. But if they don't be with a white woman, they got white Hispanic. They can get them a Rosalita or Maria or Angelina. They can go get them a Mei-Ling or a Jenny Wu, right? And then they'll choose a Keisha or a Shamika if they want to. But they got options. You know what I'm saying? Black women, there are some beautiful black women who get with white men. I've seen it. It's not the norm, though. And most of the time when you see a black woman, just like when you see black men with white women, you don't see the black woman with the best of the best white men. You see black women with lower tier white men that a lot of white women don't want. And in most cases, the black woman in that relationship is going to be the breadwinner. These are just facts. So, like I said, Cynthia G, she had this day coming. She was smart enough to get herself a Patreon. I think she's at about 1,000 subs on Patreon. And Patreon is a totally different platform. It's nowhere near as big as YouTube. It'll never be as big as YouTube. So her visibility will be drastically reduced. And her income will be drastically reduced. But she's going to be okay as far as surviving and being able to pay her bills. But she's not going to be able to live the lifestyle that she was recently accustomed to living, because her YouTube revenue was well into the 6 figures. Easy. I don't count people's money, but I know what type of income having 100,000+ subs gets you, and you got millions and tens of millions of views. So she had a lot of views. She had a lot of subscribers, and this is a major hit for her. But Instead of, trying to diversify your content a little bit and at least having some type of um, direction for black women to get the help they needed, you just want to fuel the hatred. You want to fuel the anger and fan the flames because it was entertaining. It was making you money. But you say you're about black female empowerment. That's not empowerment. It's not empowerment to preach hatred all day. That's not empowering anybody. That's not doing nothing but picking at the scab and keeping the wound from healing. If you want the wound to heal, you got to leave the scab alone. Your mama should have told you that as a young child. And you can bet your bottom dollar that these so-called loyal fans of Cynthia G are not going to go over to Patreon en masse to help her build her Patreon up, because Patreon costs money to subscribe to. They got some accounts that are $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month. I don't know all the details on Patreon. I've only looked at a couple of Patreon videos over the years, but I don't use Patreon. I don't have anything against the platform. I just like YouTube and Twitter and whatever else I use. It's just easy and it's free. So, one more thing I'm gonna add real quick before I end this video. So Cynthia G's content was, largely based off of demonizing and excoriating the worst of the worst black men in the community, and to the point where she just started saying, F it, I'm going to call all black men dusties and nakers and all this. I'm going to try to humiliate the black man. I'm going to try to show the black women that these dudes are dangerous, that they're the devil, that they're just the worst men on earth, when in reality, the majority of black men aren't pookies. The majority of black men aren't in that, light that she tried to, cast us under. But let's be honest. And this is how you know Cynthia G was full of crap. She never called out the black women in mass that like these type of dudes. There's a reason why we have dysfunction in the black community, because we never bred it out. We allowed the Pookies and the Ray Rays and the Shaniquas and the Sharondas to procreate with each other, and they're still continuing to procreate with each other. So the degeneracy cycle continues, and she never called that out. She just wanted to blame the black man for everything, when it is the woman who cocks her legs up to get that semen in her twat to make that baby. It takes two. These women got to stop choosing these type of dudes. And in reality, the majority of black men and the majority of black women don't fit in that category. But like I said, it made her money, so she never stopped. Remember the guy out in Baltimore, Tavon White, who impregnated not one, not two, not three, but four female prison guards in Baltimore. He was a gang member for something called Black Guerrilla Family or something like that. I'm not from Baltimore, but I've been there. But it's really ratchet. So anyway, black women choose these type of dudes. It makes for dysfunctional relationships. You know what you're going to get when you deal with a Pookie. When you see a dude with his pants below his waist, it just doesn't make any sense for y'all to continue to choose these type of men and then complain we get the same type of results. Because if you chose the right type of black man, you won't get those type of results. You won't get dusty results if you don't choose no dusty dick. You got good black men out here taking care of their women. And Cynthia G knows this. This is what makes her such a liar and so disingenuous. This is why a lot of black men just had no love for her at all after she turned to the dark side, just because she lied. She was very disingenuous to cast us all in that light. All black men are not great. All black men are not trash. There's good and bad amongst black men. There's good and bad amongst black women. And a lot of the black men that got their life together, a lot of black men don't want them. That's just like us trying to say that all black women carry themselves like Sukiyana. Titties all out, ass all out, sucking ding-a-ling on camera. Yeah, she got a sex tape out just like Sexy Red do, both of these whores. How would it look for us to say that all black women are thoughts? All black women have sex tapes out. That's a lie. We know that's not true. But black men ain't doing that. At least the majority of us not. All black women don't wear lace fronts and these goofy lashes. All black women ain't the same. All black men ain't the same. The black community is the second largest demographic on the planet. We make up over 1 billion humans on Earth, from Africa to Jamaica to the U.S., Brazil, wherever. And Cynthia G's gonna suffer the same fate as Tommy Sotomayor. And Tommy Sotomayor, he did the same thing. He dedicated his content to demonizing black women. I watched some of his videos, but I didn't like what he was doing. I could never dedicate my channel to just tearing down one type of person. That would get old to me anyway. But it was making him money, and he got popular because of it. And it consumed him, and it took him down. I believe in free speech. I don't believe in nobody getting their channel terminated for nothing. But that's not how this platform works. You got to follow the rules. And unfortunately for Cynthia G, she didn't follow the rules. So I guess all her followers got to go to Patreon. You know, there you go, 1,000 members. So she going to be all right. She going to get her bills paid. She just not going to be living the lifestyle that she used to live. I don't hate Cynthia G. I don't lose no sleep over Cynthia G. But I damn sure don't feel sorry for Cynthia G. Good luck to you. Like, share, follow, subscribe, comment. Peace.